We await those further developments. Let's touch on some local news happening here tonight. The decision to move plaques that memorialize Robert E. Lee and President George Washington inside of a historic church drew a political attack today. Prince William County Board Chair Corey Stewart blasted the Christ Church's decision in Alexandria. Northern Virginia Bureau Chief Peggy Fox has our story.
We heard some pretty harsh language today, and even name calling of the people who run this church, coming from a man who wants to be the next United States Senator of Virginia.
Only a weirdo would start taking down monuments to our founding fathers.
Corey Stewart, a champion of Confederate monuments, stood in front of Christ Church, where both George Washington and Robert E. Lee were parishioners. Stewart criticized the church's recent decision to move two large plaques in front of the church that memorialize both of those men.
And now they're going after the monuments to the founding fathers. The next thing, and I would not be surprised to see this happen, is that they will take the word Christ off of the name of this church.
Rector Noel York Simmons says the decision was made because some parishioners find the plaques on either side of the altar distracting.
Mr. Stewart, I don't know him personally, but I would say that he sees this very differently than we do. In our estimation, what we are doing is we are creating a worship space in which we can worship Christ more faithfully, even without distraction. We are hoping to move the plaques, not remove them. We're putting them in a place where we can more fully understand our history and where we can more fully display it.
Doesn't a parish have a right to do
Absolutely
what it wants to do?
The very first amendment, the same amendment that gives this church the right to do whatever they want inside that church. But my right and our right as citizens is to condemn the church for dishonoring the father of our country in that way.
It's hard to make a case that the church is disrespecting George Washington. This pew here, a block pew it's called, is the Washington family pew that was built when the church was built in 1773. And you can even come here and sit here where Washington sat. Lee's family pew will also remain, along with both men's signatures on silver plaques.
We couldn't change the history of the church if we tried. The history is as the history is, and it's a history we're very proud of.
In Alexandria, Peggy Fox, WUSA 9.
The Washington and Lee plaques are to remain in the sanctuary until a new place at the church complex can be determined.
President Trump's chief of staff, John Kelly, says the decision to remove the plaques is wrong. Last night on Fox News, Kelly called Robert E. Lee an honorable man who, quote, gave up his country to fight for his state. Kelly also said a lack of compromise led to the Civil War. Well, the comments on the Civil War sent that topic to the top of the Twitter charts. And today, during the White House press briefing, Sarah Huckabee Sanders defended what Kelly said.
There's certainly, I think, some historical documentation that many people, and there's pretty strong consensus, people from the left, the right, the north, and the south, that believe that if some of the individuals engaged had been willing to come to some compromises on different things, then it may not have occurred.
Elaborate on what that compromise could have been. On Twitter, one poster responded with sarcasm. So I guess slavery only on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and every other Sunday would have prevented civil war. That is just one of thousands of tweets questioning Kelly's position.
President Trump